Right, let's crack straight with the next act. This is a new guy, he's an up-and-comer. Thought we'd give him a chance. Mr. Mark Thomas, ladies and gentlemen. Hello everyone, and thank you very much for cycling. Well, brilliant, fantastic that everyone's here, fantastic the bridge has got fantastic. This is the best gig I've ever done on the bridge, this is great. And thank you for Chris for organising this all. So, listen, a little while ago I did this thing called the Manifesto, where I went around the country asking people to come up with policies to make Britain a better place, to improve the world, or just annoy their neighbours. And people would write down their ideas, their policies, and each gig we would vote on them, we'd discuss them, and we would create a policy for every single manifesto that we toured around the countryside. And we came up with a whole load of suggestions called the Manifesto. In the Manifesto, there's a weird thing, if you're a comic and you're on the left, the critics always assume that you preach to the converted. And they always go, that's what you do, you just preach to the converted. I want to tell you that is not true, because every single gig I did, someone put in a policy suggestion for bring back hanging. Every single gig, hang them, just hang them. Every gig, bring back hanging, kill them, hang. For things like people who don't clean up after their dog shit, hang them. Every fucking gig. It got to the point where I just thought, no, we should bring back hanging, but do it on a voluntary basis. So if you're in favour of hanging, you sign up to a register, and then you say, I approve of the death penalty, and then if you fuck up, we will kill you. That seems the fairest way of doing it. Also, the weird thing was, suddenly you found out that actually people who you thought might be quite staid, were in fact quite radical folk. I went to Bath, and in Bath I picked the first policy suggestion off the pile, and it read, bring back hanging, I know. But then they said, hang a banker every day of the year. And what I liked there wasn't the brutality, but the rigour. It's every day of the year, don't take a weekend off, 2 for bank holidays. And then underneath it said, and compulsory allotments for everyone. And I thought, essentially, this is the Daily Mail, bring back hanging and gardening. So, and then this is completely true. The second policy suggestion off the pile was, bring back stoning for hedge fund managers. Now, the word that caught my attention was bring back. I've obviously underestimated Bath by quite some considerable estimation. You get all sorts of suggestions that were put forward to improve our lives. Some of them, one of them was that everything in supermarkets should be stacked in alphabetical order. Which I quite like, and I went up to the bloke who suggested this after the gig and just went, this is a great idea, this is fantastic, it's really funny. He goes, no, it's not, it's serious, I really can't find it. Another one was that the fattier the food, the thinner the aisle. Which I just like that. I just love the idea of trying to reach for a donut like it's, There's a lovely one from Hull. Hull, their policy was, we should be able to take fashion designers outside and bash them into the shape they think we're in. Which was a rather beautiful one. Then the Tricycle Fair in London, they came up with a policy of models should be chosen at random from the electoral register. Now, I love that idea. I love that idea because what it does is it challenges our preconceptions of what is erotic and about age and about sex and gender. It challenges all of that. And that means if you're an advertiser, you cannot say, I want a small woman with large breasts or anything like that in my advert. You just say, I want a model. And then we go through the electoral register process, we pick someone at random. Oh, are you okay? Yeah, fine. Okay, big round of applause for our cyclists. Thank you very much. Okay, we're back on track. And what we do then is whoever is the model will be informed of their job in the same way that we tell people about jury service. So people like my dad will be suddenly opening up an envelope at breakfast going, oh fuck, I'm doing Calvin Klein. I'm going to put my pants up and everything. So So we've had this whole load of suggestions that were put forward, and we put it in the book. There's lovely little... Oh, one of my favourite ones was that we should have a gamble button on all ATM machines. Just, you know, if you didn't have enough money in the account, then boom, and you'd see, you know, give it a go. There was nice ones that anyone found guilty of a homophobic hate crime should be forced to serve their entire sentence in drag. All members of the British National Party and the EDL should be forced to trace and publish their family ancestry. So there's a whole load of really amazing suggestions. One of my favourite ones that came up time and time again was that we should renationalise the railway system. And that is a no-brainer. We are subsidising the private railway companies. And where do you get most of that? This is the weird thing. I used to think the revolution in this country will take place on a railway platform, because that is where you see most anger. Seriously, I promise you, I've stood on a railway platform and seen a grown man shout the words, "You fucking liar!" at a tannoy system. And British people are normally quite reserved, they're quite sort of like, you know, a bit embarrassed at these kind of things. That man got a round of applause from everyone on the platform. The only person who didn't clap was my wife, who looked embarrassed and walked away. The other, there was a lovely one, one of my favourite ones, was that the police should have badges that say, "How am I policing?" I think that would be a very nice one. I mean, you know, because then you could have a number you could phone up and you just go illegally. Or, you know, you could... I think the nice thing about giving the police a badge with "How am I policing?" is that if we can get them to wear that, then at least we might be able to get them to show their numbers. It might just be a way forward. I was going to read you a couple of these out. We also had a lovely... Oh, do you know, this was quite a nice one. In Slough, they voted that Windsor should be renamed Lower Slough. What a lovely idea. And I said to the bloke afterwards, "That's a great idea." And he goes, "No, it's not funny, this is righteous class anger." And I said, "OK." He said, "What it is Slough, their postcode is SL. And Windsor and Maidenhead, their postcode is SL2. Right? Windsor and Maidenhead are very annoyed they share the postcode with Slough. They don't like the SL of Slough being their postcode, and we know this because they ran a campaign to change the postcode of Windsor and Maidenhead to WM from the SL of Slough. They said that the SL of Slough was causing Windsor and Maidenhead to actually, well, it was affecting property prices and definitely attracting the wrong sorts to the area, according to the campaign. Slough responds by going, "Bollocks. You're Lower Slough." And I like that. We can make that happen because language is what we use it for. Language is what we use. That's what it is. So if we decide Windsor doesn't exist, it doesn't exist. From now on in, if you've got to send a postcard or a letter or a package to anyone in that area, you address it to Lower Slough. Right? If you have overseas friends coming to visit, take them to visit Lower Slough Castle. Because sometimes Elizabeth Lower Slough is actually in the building. And the nice thing about it is if you look on the map, you've got Eton, so you've got Slough at the top, then you've got Lower Slough, formerly known as Windsor, at the bottom, and in the middle is Eton. Eton is Slough Central. So the two policies that I wanted to read out to you, one of them is policy number 22 that was voted through, and it reads, when I can quickly find it for you, it reads, "Politicians should have to wear tabards displaying the names and logos of the companies with whom they have a financial relationship, like a racing driver." I just wanted to put forward an amendment to cover personal friends and best men. So we'd include Liam Fox on that. The other policy that came through is policy number 29. Private health companies. that use NHS-trained staff, doctors, nurses and clinicians should pay a levy to reimburse the NHS for the training costs and help with training in the future. Make no mistake about this, the attack on the NHS is an asset strip for assets that we have paid for. This is a hit and run raid. This is a grab by the private companies of the cash which we are forking up for the rich one more time, and we should not stand for this. I just want to read you the first bit of this policy because I thought it was apposite of today, and it says, private medicine is fundamentally un-British, as the only reason to use it is to jump the queue. There is one thing that all of us pride ourselves in. Okay, great, thank you very much. And that is our ability as a nation to queue. It is what distinguishes us from the French. Therefore, there is no greater social gaucherie or display of ill breeding than going private. It is based upon the ability to push to the front, shouting the words, "Let me through because I have money." And that is what private medicine's about. The clock agrees with me.